Years had passed since that fateful night at their grandparents' house, but the memory of the terrifying shadows and eerie whispers lingered in the minds of Chris Jr., Sky, and Ava. They had sworn never to return, but when their grandparents mysteriously disappeared, they felt an unavoidable compulsion to confront their fears once again. On a stormy evening, they stood before the ominous house. Its dark windows seemed to watch them with an unsettling gaze. Determined to find their grandparents, they pushed open the heavy front door and stepped inside. The house welcomed them with a cold embrace. Every creak of the floorboards and whisper of the wind felt sinister. They moved as a group, their flashlights slicing through the darkness. Dusty furniture, cobweb-covered corners, and the overwhelming sense of dread filled every room. Their destination was the attic, where the horrors had first begun. As they ascended the staircase, they noticed the hidden door was slightly ajar, as if expecting them. The key from their previous encounter lay on the floor, now stained with fresh blood. Ava, steeling herself, picked up the key. The air grew colder as they approached the door, and an unnatural chill ran down their spines. The narrow, winding staircase beyond the door led them into the depths of the house. With each step, the temperature dropped, and the whispers grew louder, more menacing. The cellar was just as they remembered, cold, dark, and filled with a sense of foreboding. The altar was there, but the leather-bound book was gone. In its place stood an ancient mirror, its surface shimmering with an eerie, green glow. Ava approached the mirror, her breath visible in the frigid air. The reflection showed not themselves, but their grandparents, bound and gagged, their eyes filled with terror. As the children gasped, the mirror's surface rippled like water. Suddenly, a skeletal hand reached out, grabbing Sky's wrist and pulling her toward the mirror. Sky's scream pierced the air. The others rushed to help, but the mirror's surface turned solid, trapping her arm. Dark, shadowy figures began to emerge from the mirror, their eyes glowing with a sinister light. The figures moved quickly, circling the children and whispering dark incantations that filled their minds with dread. In a desperate attempt to save Sky, grabbed the ancient dagger from the altar and slashed at the mirror. The glass cracked with a deafening sound, releasing Sky's arm but also unleashing a torrent of dark energy. The shadows recoiled momentarily before surging forward again, more aggressive and twisted. The children tried to flee, but the cellar door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The candle's flame flickered wildly, casting grotesque shadows on the walls. The whispers grew louder, echoing with promises of despair and torment. The shadows lunged, their forms shifting into nightmarish shapes that seemed to reach into the children's very souls. With the situation growing increasingly dire, Chris Jr. knocked over the candle, sending the cellar into darkness. The shadows paused, disoriented by the sudden absence of light. Taking advantage of the momentary reprieve, the children huddled together, trying to come up with a plan. Ava noticed a faint glow emanating from the broken shards of the mirror. She picked up a piece, its surface reflecting the room with an unsettling clarity. She realized that the mirror shards held some power over the shadows. "We need to use these," she whispered urgently, handing each of them a shard. Armed with the shards, the children faced the advancing shadows. As they raised the shards, the shadows recoiled, their forms flickering and distorting. The whispers turned to angry hisses, but the children's determination grew stronger. They moved forward, using the mirror pieces to push the shadows back towards the altar. The shadows writhed and screamed as they were driven back. The children's confidence grew with each step, their fear turning into resolve. Finally, with one last effort, they forced the shadows into the altar, where they vanished with a final, ear-piercing wail. The cellar fell silent, the oppressive darkness lifting. As they caught their breath, the children noticed the mirror shards beginning to glow brighter. The altar crumbled, revealing a hidden compartment beneath. Inside, they found another ancient book, but this one radiated a warm, golden light. Opening it, they discovered a series of protective spells and incantations. Realizing that this book might hold the key to saving their grandparents, the children carefully read the incantations aloud. The golden light enveloped them, filling the cellar with a sense of peace and warmth. The air shimmered, and they felt a powerful energy coursing through them. Suddenly, the cellar door burst open, and their grandparents stumbled in, free from their bonds and looking dazed but unharmed. The children rushed to them, relief flooding their hearts. They knew they had managed to break the curse that had plagued the house. As they left the cellar, the house itself seemed to change. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the darkness receded. The old house, once a place of fear, now felt like a safe haven. The children knew they had conquered the malevolent forces that had haunted them for so long. They never spoke of that night again, but they understood that they had faced their fears and emerged stronger. The book of protective spells was kept safe, a reminder of their bravery and the bond that had helped them overcome the darkness. Years later, the house was sold, and a new family moved in. The children, now adults, occasionally visited, feeling a sense of peace rather than dread. The house had been cleansed of its malevolent presence, thanks to their courage and determination. The whispers and shadows were gone, replaced by the warmth and love of a family unbroken by fear.